This office, just over my shoulder, has housed British Columbia's premier for more than half a century. David Eby, the new premier, making big promises on big files. Looking back at 2022 and looking forward to 2023, there's one issue clearly standing out: housing.
We're in a housing hole. We need to stop digging, preserving that low-cost rental housing we have, and creating the opportunity to have more units.
Eby took over the job in November. I sat down with him in Victoria to talk about the big measures the premier's promising in 2023, putting restrictions on corporations' ability to buy up rental buildings so they can't inevitably jack up the rents like many in Vancouver experience, and regulating the growing vacation rental market, largely again in Metro Vancouver.
They will see us do legislation around Airbnb and short-term rentals so that municipalities have the tools to be able to effectively regulate this.
Right now, there are municipalities blocking the ability of owners to rent out secondary suites. Eby promising to change that as well.
Even if they have a full suite in their basement, it complies with the building code that bans people from renting it out. We need people to be able to rent out those spaces.
Building new homes from rentals to condos, ensuring municipalities make it as easy to build those units as other properties.
It's really frustrating for people that are looking for a place to live to know that the easiest permit you can get with the least process is for the most expensive kind of housing, which is a single-family detached home.
Eby's expressing a sense of urgency. Under his watch as housing minister, housing prices went up in Metro Vancouver. Rents also went up. As minister, his hands seemingly tied. They aren't anymore.
Just leveling the playing field there and saying, look, if you're going to build up to 3 units, you can do the same process as a single-family house.
As he builds a framework on housing, he's aware of the other challenges already rooted around him. Turbulent economic times are ahead, and even in a province with so much homegrown food, just getting it to the table is now more expensive.
There are other opportunities for us to do that kind of thing. One area that I'm really concerned about is the increasing cost of food and people having to choose between paying the rent and paying for food.
And what about those who just finding a place to sleep, let alone paying for it, is the challenge? Eby pledging to build out a new model of mental health support, treatment, and housing. A model set to expand at Vancouver's St. Paul's, where someone treated for a toxic drug poisoning can go from hospital bed to detox to a home.
An inventory of what are the opportunities that we could get going urgently to try different approaches, especially around the treatment side of things, to really help British Columbians interrupt that cycle they may be in with addiction.
The downtown east side, in the premier's mind, has never been in such a bad place. Crime, addiction, a sense of desperation. He's continually turning back to the same word: hope.
It needs a pandemic-style response. And we're bringing together the folks around the table to deal with the challenges that neighborhood faces.
A pandemic-style response while the pressures of the pandemic still linger. The healthcare system in a state of crisis. Absenteeism still high, and many have left frontline jobs. A commitment from him to ensure foreign workers can practice in BC to help address staffing.
These regulators need to set up those pathways that are really clear, understandable, and accessible and transparent for people who are trying to get to work in their chosen career. And if they're unwilling or unable to put those pathways in place, then government needs to put those in place so that our province can function.
Eby is charting an ambitious course for 2023, be it on housing, healthcare, mental health. There's one measuring stick for success: that when people look around, are in their communities, things look different, better than they do now. In Victoria, Liza Yuzda, City News.